Take me home tonight. Listen, honey, just like Ronnie said. Just like Ronnie said.
All right, hello and welcome back to the unofficial official pod of Straight No Chaser. As always, I am Mike Luganbill, and I'm joined by two other members of the band, Segi Isho and Tyler Trepp. What's up, guys?
What's going
Hello,
on?
glad
Welcome
to be
back,
back.
Tyler.
I missed the episode last week, and I was listening in our lodge in Canada, and I felt so missed, and I felt the love that used to be there wasn't there, but I appreciated some comments that I got and people that said that they missed me, and that made me feel really good. So glad to be back, and glad to be back with you guys.
But are you glad to be back?
I'm mostly stay classy.
Okay.
We made it into Canada with the unofficial official pod.
You did. You were
That's a big
listening
step right
in
there.
Peralt Falls, Ontario. So yes, they
Nice.
heard our dulcet tones.
It's great. Yes, it's nice to have you back, Tyler. We missed you on the last one, and so I think for this episode, since we're in the middle of like a month off, we're going to try to update you on what's going on with the group right now as we're getting ready for the Top Shelf tour starting in October. That's going to be really fun. And then we're going to get to more questions from the mailbag. That was a lot of fun last
Mailbag.
time. So I think as we move ahead here, as we're off, I think we'll do more of the question and answer stuff because think that I think everybody liked that, and I think the response was good and stuff. So I think we'll do more of that on this pod. But why don't we start off with some updates of what's going on with Straight No Chaser? Who wants to take that one?
I'll just say that people always ask us what we do in our off time when we're not on the road. And yes, our first priority is we're dads, and that's our number one job that we do when we're home. We're the other half of a marriage, and we're dads first and foremost. But so we take on all of those things when we get home. But also most of the time in between tours, we're prepping for the next one. So especially this time of year where we just got off the road from the summer tour, and now we are just immediately flip the script and think about the fall tour and that whole set and what all that entails. So that's what we're doing right now. We're arranging new songs. We are looking at old songs, getting them back up and ready and all that stuff, and hopefully making the most entertaining show that we can to bring to you guys. So that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, we're gonna be debuting a lot of songs. Some of them may not necessarily be new to Straight No Chaser. They may be songs that we've never performed live. So that'll be fun. So basically new. I don't know how many people that are in the audience every night have all the albums, have heard all the songs. I still think a fair amount of people there are new to us. I think overall it'll be a lot of new for everybody, and it's gonna be great. We're working on a new opening video. We're working on a new set design, new lights. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so great. Top shelf even.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
would you say it's top shelf like
I would.
material? Okay.
Okay, so real quick, what would you consider when you think top shelf? What is the first bottle you think of?
When I think Top Shelf,
Mm,
first bottle I think
think
of
of like a nice
probably like
bourbon or whiskey or something.
tequila.
Like a Louis?
I don't know. That's like the extra level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like
You know,
an
like a Patron or
Whistle Pig whiskey.
something
like a
that's like
Johnny Blue,
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Grey Goose.
Yeah, sure.
Stuff that you let other people buy for you.
Yeah, or stuff that you get dupes of at Costco.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
It's like a fake
Oh,
version.
dupes. Okay, cool.
Dupes.
Hey, we're all learning here. It's a learning experience.
Not just
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
A lot of
But
the questions that
sometimes
we
go
got
for the
sent
lower
over.
shelf stuff too. But that's
Yeah,
always a
that's
bad
okay.
idea to go for the lower shelf. All right, I think we should get into the mailbag and see
Oh,
what
we're going there?
yeah,
Okay.
I think we should. This is only the second episode that we've done where we've answered anything. So um and I like it. So
I think it's the third because I did one and then you did one without me.
oh
But
okay,
this
cool.
would be the third, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. And then once we get back out on the road and we're doing the shows every week where we recap recap what happened on all the shows, we won't really do as many questions there. I wouldn't think. So like it's nice to get through those here. So who's got the first one?
Tyler's got them all.
I have them all. I'm unsure of where you left off, but I think I have an idea. Did
Okay.
you read Stephanie Hilliard, Ohio?
I believe so. That sounds familiar because Mike said Jill Hilliard.
You made a joke about
Oh, then that's you probably read that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have made the same joke, so there you go. Shout out Jill. How about Megan O'Neill? Did we read hers?
No, that's a good one. Let's go.
Okay, this is a good one. Her name is Megan O'Neill. And again, when you are emailing us at unofficialofficialpodcast@gmail.com with a question, we love your questions. Please, as many as you want or are wondering about, please say your name and where you are from. So when we read it on the pod, we know who you are and where you're from. Okay, this is from Megan O'Neill. She says, this is probably a stupid question, but I was wondering what you hear when you are wearing your in-ears. Is there something different in each ear or is it the same on both sides?
Ooh, good question.
Great question.
Well, I think it's going to be different for all of us, but the short answer is that you can hear whatever you want. If you want to hear yourself louder, or like I do, I don't have any of Seggy or any of Tyler in my ears because they're really distracting. You can pick whatever you want. So it's up to everybody.
It's a really nice luxury to have. When we started out, we had them, but we didn't have all the bells and whistles that we have now. So basically, each song has its own setting. And to make it simple, like you can have whoever you want in your left ear, whoever you want in your right ear. You can have more of each, and each song can be different. So that setting for that song is maybe like a setting for, let's say, like a ballad or a slower song, maybe not the same setting as you have for an opener or closer that's got more energy and percussion and all that kind of stuff. We're constantly messing with it because different nights sounds different. Guys sing louder, guys sing softer on different nights. So we'll constantly be messing with it. That's why you'll sometimes see, if you're looking closely at us during the show, we'll look over to our left, your right, to our monitor guy, and we usually mouth something to him to say up or down to change. He can change the setting on the fly. So that's really cool that we have that luxury.
So in addition to all the voices, we have a couple of other things playing in our ears that help us put on the best show possible. So as our production has grown, like the lighting and the video and stuff and all that stuff, things really need to be in time, especially when there are video cues that are happening to the music, like when the chorus starts. If there's any like lyrical content on screen, like it's got to be perfect. So before we had in-ears, we would be rushing every song. We would just start it at a certain tempo and then just progressively get faster. And as we would get faster, the tuning would start to fall apart and we were just a standard a cappella group. Now we're professional and we're giving ourselves use of these tools that help us put on a much more professional show. So in our ears, in addition to the voices, we have a click track, which is basically just a metronome, which is the tempo of the song. So it'll be like click, 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 so you could stay in time. And now we've also added some MIDI tracks in our ears, which basically help us stay in tune. So for example, if a song is in C major, there would be a MIDI track playing in our ears to the rhythm of the song and in sequence, like a C major chord, C, E, G. That way, when you're singing, you have much more to tune to than just the human voice, which is going to fluctuate throughout a show. It's just physics. So all of that stuff helps us stay in tune, stay in time, and keep the video and everything synced up perfectly so that you as the audience get the best possible product.
Right. And also just one extra thing is that it's not the easiest. Like I know like right away, it was about a year that I was using him. And I was like, okay, now I like this. But it was hard just to figure out like exactly the right, I don't know, balance and stuff because if something's loud and wrong or something, like it can really throw you off. Yeah, so that was a bit of a learning.
Does anybody have any funny in-ear
bit of a
stories?
curve.
Yes,
Like where they went out or
I do have a funny
We
one
had
that,
one
that
happen.
impacted
Okay.
all of us
Yeah, the last time,
during
well, like
tennis.
there's a
Tennessee
few
whiskey.
times, right, where another track was going of
Yeah.
another song and yeah.
So the program we use off stage to run all of these clicks and files and everything is called QLab. And it's a very finicky program and it has to be dialed in like just perfectly. And if not, all sorts of chaos can happen. So When you fire, which is a fancy word for start a song on the computer on the side of the stage that starts the count off in our ears and the click and the MIDI and all that stuff in the video. When you fire that song, everything starts running together. If one thing is just slightly shifted or moved, it's like mayhem. So we had inserted a new song at some point on this tour, or it had a new file or something had to be updated, but it wasn't done completely. So when they fired Tennessee Whiskey, the MIDI track to, I think, Tenderness or something like that,
Something that wasn't Tennessee Whiskey.
Something that wasn't
different key. So
Yeah.
something else played at the same time. So you had two keys, MIDI tracks playing in your ears, and you're trying to sing your part. And it was amazing because you could see just about everyone on stage like immediately take their ears out and flip their ears out, like, all right, we're doing this one old school because I can't compete against this.
Right.
So that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Tyler.
I was gonna say, so to try to put it in perspective for you listeners at home, it'd be like if you went in your car and you tried to sing a song, but another song was playing on the radio at the same time, but you had to sing that first song in your head to the best of your ability. It was crazy, but for a fun moment and that we will always remember.
Those things are rare, but when they happen, it's, oh no, it's the end of the world. But it's not the end of the world, but it seems like it is. You're like, oh man. But it's worked out so far. I actually thought when that happened, I noticed everybody just got locked in. It was like, all right,
Yeah.
we really need to do this because it's out for everybody. So let's just, yeah.
You had to
But-
focus. You had to focus way more because all of your training wheels that you've got in your ears
yeah.
completely gone. So now you got to really focus on trying to hear from stage other parts. And in that song, we're all spread apart pretty decently on stage. So it was hard to hear other people. So it's just, man, I'm just going to listen to the soloist and tune to that and pray that the soloist is right. But anytime those kind of moments happen, I always just think, oh man, if they only knew
Live theater, man.
what just could have
Live
happened.
music. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the train wreck that could have ensued, and we, being the unbelievably amazing professional musicians we are, completely saved it.
That's right. That was a good one. That's a
Thank
good
you,
question.
Megan.
Thank you.
Okay, before we get to Rich's question, let's go to,
Oh, Rich has a question?
Go ahead.
yeah, Nikki Clairbout. I think she's asked a
Right.
question before. She's the Chaser SNC Build-A-Bear.
Mhm.
She is from just outside Ann Arbor. Now she's living in a small town just outside Lexington, Kentucky. Her first question is about merch. Who comes up with the designs for merch you sell? Do you all have to agree on the designs, or is it a simple majority rules situation?
So we have like little teams that spearhead different things. We've got a team that does merch. It's me, Mike, Steve, DR, Brits, and our merchandise director over at Works, Kyle. Yeah, we just come up with the different products we're thinking about for each tour. Kyle will always send us an email a few months before the tour, be like, hey, this is what I think is trending right now at live shows. And then we start thinking of designs. Usually we have a designer at Works. His name is Nick. He'll usually send an initial run of designs, just completely dark in terms of we've not given him any direction or anything. He comes up with these designs, and then we'll start tinkering from there and fine tuning from there. We also engage Marnie, our old merch manager on tour. She's always a great sounding board for product ideas, merch ideas. I always like to run everything by her just because she's been in this business so long. She has like a really good grasp of what works and what doesn't. And she's pretty in tune with our demographic. So I'll always be like, hey, what do you think about this? Oh, that's a home run, for sure. Do that. This is a good idea, but maybe change it to this color instead of this, because women generally like wearing these colors versus that. So that's generally how the merch is done. And then once we have the final designs that the small little team is good with, we'll send that to the group for feedback from the group. But generally the group is just cool. Yeah, that's great. Otherwise, if it was all 9 of us having to agree on things, like we would never get anything done, which is how we used to do things.
And yeah, that's right.
That's every area of the group. It's if there was all 9 of us trying to decide this stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh man. That was a good question. She has another one. which I'm happy that I have these two guys to listen to this question. But she asks about tour wardrobe. Who picks out the outfits that you wear? How do you just decide last summer and this summer when it wasn't all the same? What was the process the same, or did you each get to pick what you wore
So our moms actually lay out our outfits in
every
every
day?
night. So
Yep.
when we wake up, it's all
Per-
there ready for us.
Laundered, freshly laundered,
You got
smells
to get
really
it
nice.
pressed, you
Yeah,
got to get it
pressed.
pressed. It's the press
It's
before the iron.
the wardrobe stuff is the same as the merch stuff. We have a team or whatever, and we've tried to do a lot of things, and we realized over the years that nothing nothing looks like a black suit. It just it's like,
Top
kind of
shelf.
it's the best
Timeless.
thing. It works. And even though we want to try different things, last year we had a green jacket that I thought was
Uh-huh.
all right. And then the one year that we did like a maroon color like this, it was like a red. There were a lot of thoughts about that. But I'd say over the years, that might have been the only one that we missed on. But at the same time, half the people were like, I love it. But the other half were like, why are you wearing this? Because it's not good. But yeah, it's a similar thing. Um, it's like the merch in that it's a team thing, and then we show the guys, and then if anybody has a big issue with it, then we kind of start over. So
Yeah. So for the fall tours, it's pretty easy. We can do it ourselves, like
oh,
from start to finish. So like Mike and I will handle everything for the fall tours. But for the summer stuff, when we were getting into like pretty intricate patterns and color palettes and like different looks for each guy, we had to bring someone on because in order for it to look different but cohesive, it just made sense to have a professional designer put it
mhm.
all together because we could probably have done it, but I don't think it would have looked as clean. So I'm glad that we hired Rachel's her name. She's been great. She did the Yacht Rock and she did the 90s, and I'm sure she will do the next summer look as well, whatever that may be. But yeah, that's how it works.
Mhm. That's a good question.
Cool.
All these are good. They're
And
all
her
good.
third question is, she had three. She asked about the gym, and we talked a couple weeks ago about going to the gym, who all goes and how often. Does the gym help with choreo and keeping your stamina up almost every night? Or if you do like different types of training, weight training or cardio or a mixture, does it help with things like that?
Absolutely. Just as you're getting older too, like it's a good thing to do. But I'd say probably me, Steve, Jerome, Jasper, Segi, Fredo sometimes, Walt. I think everybody does something.
You four, you, Steve, Jasper, and Rome
Yeah, those are
are the core that go every day.
sure.
I used to be a part of that. In the last year, I've been pretty lazy, gotten back in the gym this past week and a half or so because put on some LBs and gonna reverse that. So I will also be a part of that core moving
Nice.
forward, getting back to how it used to be.
Yeah.
Just got a little
It it,
lazy.
it
It's easy to get lazy on tour.
very at the end it's
Yeah.
okay. I'll
Especially
just
when
work
it's like
out.
snowing out and
Yeah,
it's
oh,
wet and you
yeah,
got to walk to the gym. It's not
yeah.
right. Come on.
But it
And just
Both
sit here
ways
with
in the
this
snow, up the
uphill. Yeah.
hill, yeah,
Yeah.
all the things.
I do notice that the shows are a little bit easier to get through when I feel strong or when I feel like I'm fit, but I think everyone's different. So,
When
but
I
like
was
it
going
certainly does help dancing
consistently,
and stuff. Like it does help with all that. But
Yeah.
when I was
I
going
will,
consistently, I would say that the my biggest takeaway from the gym before the show is that it warms you up so
mm,
much better than
yeah,
anything else
totally.
just because you're breathing so much, like really aggressively. So for me, that was my biggest positive of going to the gym before the show. 'Cause I start note one and I'm like, I'm ready. I'm ready to do this.
I noticed that too when you've had a like a either like a run
Yeah.
or some kind of higher kind of moving stuff. Like it gets everything going.
I actually go to the gym a lot more when I'm home. I belong to a CrossFit gym, so it's really good and it's really good for you, but it's spoiled me to where I can just show up at my set time of the day and they say, all right, for an hour, this is what we're doing. And then when I am trying to figure out how on the road to do it myself, it's really easy just to say, maybe let's go walk a mile or so.
Oh, you don't have a 9-foot tire that weighs 300 pounds that you could just
I
walk around?
asked about bringing it, but they said no.
We used to have stuff like that.
Yeah, some TRX bands
on
and
the road with
stuff
us.
like that.
Yeah, that never got used. No one ever used them.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
like
rare.
the
maybe
thing
like
is,
once a week or something.
yeah, there's a lot you can do that you don't have to have all that stuff, and I
Yeah.
understand that. It's just the self-policing, like trying, like getting.
Mhm.
It was like when I was trying to work out during COVID. Like I did so well at the beginning, and after a while, I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm
Also,
gonna go.
why it's nice when we're on the road. Usually, every day there's a group of people going,
Yeah, you have a buddy.
so it's easier to be like, all right, I'll just go with you. But there's strength in numbers.
That's right. Thank you, Nikki, for all of those great questions. So we're going to end with our buddy Rich. Now, I don't know how inside baseball we want to get here, but he asks
That's what
about.
the pod's for, man.
So Rich is
That podcast.
our buddy, our fan in Aurora, Illinois, as we've all gotten to know. I think he's been ever since we started doing the mailbag, he's been on. So he asks, when SNC is touring, do the members, and I suppose the road crew as well, get a per diem for food since you're away from home working for the quote unquote corporation? Or is it viewed like you're simply going to work and employees that go to work either bring their lunch or go out to dinner at their own expense?
Everyone does get per diem, and that is for daily essentials and basics. All meals are provided on the road. Generally, every day we'll have catering, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So the per diem is, I think, for basic needs throughout the day. But yeah, everyone gets per diem.
Also, I think in that a common misconception is people often ask us, you guys are on the road that long, you must eat out all the time. And yes and no. Yeah, on days off and stuff, we have to eat out. But usually on show days, like the meal is pretty decent. It's not like just we have to go out for every single meal. Although some days during that spring run where we had 3 days off in a row, we were doing a lot of DoorDash.
Yeah.
But
I will say too, probably every year after I get home off the tour, I don't eat for a week because I'm like, oh, I have to make it. I have to figure this out. It's not like ready for me every day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I have not eaten all.
Oh,
It's so annoying because I'm
you
just like,
poor
just
little famous
let me
man.
eat it. Oh, but
Oh, I didn't come down to a 3 meat vegetable tray of awesomeness.
but it's nice having that out there. It's good.
And that he asked Mike about his love for truck stops. I'll let Mike elaborate on that. He just said at one point we talked about Mike loving truck stops, so he was asking about that.
I do. I love a truck stop. It's more for because usually on the road when we stop, it's after a show and we have a day off the next day or whatever. So it's usually used for me. Just, I don't know. I like to walk in there just to see what's in there, something to do. And then also, I always leave with something I don't need or want, even sometimes, but that's how it is. Similar, it's if you walk into Target and you leave with way more stuff than you need,
That's every trip to Target.
like that. It's like that. It's like, why do I have these? Whatever.
It's also when you take a road trip anywhere and you stop at the gas station and you go in there and you get some snacks. We do that too. It's just after the show at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
After a few drinks,
It's an
it's always
event. It's an event.
yeah, it's always fun to go inside and see what's new in the candy world or the chip world. And I'm going to tell you nothing. It's all
Not
the
much.
same. It's all the same at every truck stop.
Yeah.
All the same stuff. But after a few drinks, you're like, you know what? Maybe
Yeah.
I do want a Kit Kat
I could use a caramello right
at,
now.
at 3 in the morning.
That's right.
But it's
No, that's
generally
great.
only before a day off because otherwise we'd be asleep at the time the drivers would stop for gas.
Being responsible, the responsible adults.
Right. Thank you, everybody, for your questions.
Yeah, those were
And
good.
again, you can email us at unofficialofficialpodcast@gmail.com. Please put your name and where you're from, and you can ask us basically anything. So thank you.
Awesome.
So now that the mailbag's done, I'm just going to do a quick update
Ooh,
Okay.
update.
on the SNC Fantasy Football League.
Love it. Let's
So
hear
week
it.
1 just ended. Congratulations, Tyler, to the Cowboys winning. Congratulations to me for the Lions winning. And we'll move on to the league.
Congratulations to Mike for beating
This is
Jasper
our
in the fantasy
Colts.
league.
So our fantasy football league is 10 teams. So it's Mike, Walt, Freedom, Jerome, DR, Jasper, Brits, Kyle Novak, and Ben. They are
Novak.
co-managers. They both work for Works. Luke, Bob, and myself. So after week 1, someone on this Zoom is in first place,
Is
and
it
that
you?
someone would be Mike Luganbill.
All right. Heyo.
And there is
big
someone
neighborhood.
there's someone in this league in this Zoom that is in last place. And that would be me
Oh no.
because Christian McCaffrey did not play last night. So I
right.
got a big old bagel from him in my lineup. Couldn't swap him out because it was Monday night.
I'd say probably if we're going to go in upsets, I was down to Jasper by 20 something, and I have the Niners kicker,
Oh my goodness. He got 26.
26
God,
points,
Bill
and I
Belichick.
ended up winning by 3 or 4 points. And I wrote him a text. I was like, bro, how did I win this matchup? And he goes, wait, what? Yeah, I just looked. He was so mad.
That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was losing the whole time, and then a kicker scores 26, and yeah.
You also had Chicago's defense, which put up
Yeah, they
29,
went
so
off.
that was great.
Yeah.
If I would have known we would have been talking about the fantasy league in the pod, I would have stayed in the league.
Nope, we're doing this
Oh,
on
right.
purpose.
Oh,
In
man.
spite of you. Tyler was in the league originally.
I
Then he quit.
was.
Then he
Yep.
quit. Then last year I begged him to come back.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago I begged him to come back, came back, and then he quit again. So that's the kind of guy Tyler is. You know, some episodes he's going to be on the pod, some he's gone fishing.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I am involved in fantasy football, just not with you guys.
With his real friends.
Yeah.
But how did everybody feel after week 1 watching the NFL? NFL is a big part of our lives, especially before the tour, because it's the only time we can watch it uninterrupted.
Mhm.
We have
Really? I think the opposite. I think I could
No.
watch more on the road.
No, we have shows and sound check and meet and greets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I'll say that the Colts played really well. And even though they lost to Houston, who is really good, now if they would have lost to somebody else who is not that good, I would be a little annoyed. But it's early. It's week 1. There's lots of stuff going on, and there's lots of time, and like all of the hope is not lost. I don't think for the majority of the league, maybe 3 or 4 teams, but I think
Yeah. I think
Well,
the Colts will still make the playoffs. I think Houston will probably win the division, but I think the Colts will make the playoffs. They're a really strong team.
I hope so.
Dallas looked good, but I don't know how much of that was Cleveland looking bad.
Mhm.
The thing I loved about the Lions game is that we played poorly and still found a way to win, which is awesome. So that gives me a lot of confidence moving forward because I know they're just going to get better. It was very obvious that nobody played in the preseason because the offense
Oh,
was just
yeah.
Yeah.
completely out of sync. Like Dallas too, right? Like the receivers and the quarterback were not on the same page like for a lot of the game. And so that'll come with time and reps. So it's going to be a fun season. So
Yeah.
all you listeners, feel free to write in about your teams and who you're rooting for.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Good. So as we're going to wrap up here, I do just want to say real quick, if any of our listeners are in Indianapolis this weekend,
Oh, yeah.
I will be on stage with Ryan Allwert. We are going to be opening for Jerome's Rewind show that he's doing up there. So that's going to be at 7:30, Carmel, Indiana. And you can go to Jerome Collins Music, see all the dates there. It should be a good time. So
Yeah. And Jerome's got other shows
Yeah.
in the region, Chicago and
Yeah.
other places.
So he's here in Nashville tonight. I'm going to go here in a couple hours, and
Didn't
so
know
that'd be
that.
fun. And then he's doing some regional stuff this week, and then he ends in Indianapolis, and then I think maybe Chicago on the weekend. So
St. Louis too, I think.
yeah, I think that's on Thursday. So
Nice.
if you guys want to see any of his shows, it's Jerome Collins Music, and you can see where he's going to be at. This has been really fun, guys. I'm glad we got this in.
Yeah.
So until next time, for Seggy, Tyler, and Mike, this has been the unofficial official pod. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
See ya.